Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dave and today I'm in one of my workshops and I'm going to be doing some work in here over the next couple of weeks. And this is the end of one of the workshops, and this area here I normally have a car or a tractor parked into. But ever since I built the shed probably about 3 years ago, I've been thinking about putting a mezzanine floor in this area of the shed up this end. When I built the shed about 3 years ago, I made it high enough at the centre there that I could put a mezzanine floor in. I think it's about 4.6 or 4.7 metres to the top point there. So I always had in my mind that I wanted to put a mezzanine floor, and I can put one in that comes up to about 2100 high and then still have enough room that I can stand up in the middle part here. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be getting all the components ready and then putting in this mezzanine floor. And this all is going to be changed around as well. So up the end here I've got a very makeshift temporary workbench and I've got some welding equipment here. And that is basically going to stay there on that wall, but the mezzanine is going to go in all this area here. And when I was thinking about building a mezzanine floor, I was just going to go and visit a friend of mine that just had a mezzanine put in, and I thought, well, I'll just take a whole heap of measurements of the steel and the components and then I'll just copy that and that will do. But then I got to thinking about when this property eventually gets sold, that the council will probably ask for an engineer certificate for the mezzanine floor to make sure that it complies with regulations. And if I just bought all the components myself, then I really wouldn't have had those details. So I ended up finding a company online and they did the design work, plus they give you an engineer certificate to say that it all meets the legal requirements. So, and that was a lot easier. They worked out the dimensions and what sort of components of steel I needed, and over a number of weeks had it shipped to me, and I finally got it all here. And today's initial exercise here today, I'm just going to bring it all in and lay it down on the floor. I've had it sitting outside for a while and I just want to get it in out of the weather, and then we can start putting it up. Here are the components, or the C-channel for the mezzanine floor kit. So these longer ones here that run down here, they're 6 metre lengths and the shorter ones are 4. So the size of the mezzanine floor is going to be 6 metres by 4 metres. The actual distance I've got in here across here is actual 9 metres from one side of the garage across to the other. I've got the garage door that I have to deal with here, so I can't come right to the end. So I ended up on getting a kit that was 6 metres long and comes out 4 metres. So it'll come out probably just to the edge of these stands here. And the idea of doing that is it was a standard size of steel that they already had cut, so I didn't have to pay extra to get any of the steel custom cut to length. This box contains handrails, I think, that are all in there. I can sort of see through the plastic. So that would be a 6 metre length of handrails. And the rest of the kit is on here. So this is an internal stair kit that goes up at the back of the mezzanine floor. And I didn't want a kit that actually has the stair that actually projects out into the workshop and you have to sort of walk around it all the time. So I actually got the shed people to design an internal stairs that goes up on the inside of the mezzanine floor. So that's what this kit is here. There's some, so these are all handrails that are all there, and then there's treads for the stairs that are on the bottom there. So that's most of the stuff that's in that kit. And I managed to pick that up on my John Deere tractor, which I thought was pretty good. I don't know how much it weighs. I've lifted quite a lot with this tractor before, and I've just got a set of clip-on pallet forks on the front here, and you just put those on when you need them and they come in quite handy. And it actually lifted that up quite well. Well, just, I wouldn't say quite well, it got it off the ground and it enables me to move it in. So I'm going to put this in last because the handrails and the stairs are the last components I'm going to put in. So I'm going to put those right at the back here, just inside this roller door area here, so they'll be out of the way when I'm building the rest of the floor. and I can get to them as the last thing we're going to put up. Okay, you take that end, I'll get this end. These are the long 6 metre C sections. It's got written on here C224, so these are the bigger ones. Ready to lift? Here we go. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Right, swing it around, swing it around. Okay, here we go. Here we go. And let's put it down. Put it down. Oh. Good job. Okay, these are all lengths of tubing. I'm guessing that are the handrails. I'm guessing that's what it is. Yep. Don't know what that is. What does that say? Prakash Surya. Okay. Nice to put that whole box in, wouldn't it? But too heavy for me to lift. Well, I'm not too sure how much weight is actually on there. I would think it'd be, I don't know, 100 and something kilos, 200 kilos maybe, but it seemed to lift it up no problem. So we'll move that in and just put it just inside the doorway here. Right, so I've just moved all that in and didn't take up as much room as I thought. I do notice that there's individual numbers on each section here, so I guess that relates to the plan that I was sent as a PDF. So I'll open that up shortly and we'll have a look at that and see how all that works. So I think that's all the components that are there. So that's all the bigger ones are the outside bearers, the smaller one are the floor joists. In this timber packet here are the steel tubing for the handrails, and then this is the actual handrail and stair kit that's in this other pack here. And one thing I notice I can't see is actually the uprights or the corner posts that go here, and then there's one over there and one over there, one over here. So there must be another pack that's going to come, I guess, that's got the steel uprights in it. I might have to chase that up and see where those are. But all this looks good. That's all nicely heavily galvanised, these handrails and so forth. There's a box here. What does that say? It says get, bit faded, it's been in the sun, get a free carton of beer. See inside for more details. So let's see what's in the mystery box, if I can open it up here. Yep. So this stair kit came from one of the suppliers, and the kit comes from a number of suppliers. The stairs came from a place called Advantage Industries. Thank you for your order. Take photos of the installed kit, scan the QR code and leave a 5-star review. Blah blah blah. What's inside? Oh, we get some Pringles. Maybe you eat these during the installation. And a can of beer, advantageindustries.com.au lager. There we go, Pioneer Brewing. Beautiful. Right, I'll put that in the fridge, we'll have that later. Well, a couple of days later now, and my posts have turned up. So these posts are 2.4 metres long, and I'm just looking at the area here that is going to be sitting on the concrete slab, and I'm just looking at the plans that they've supplied with it, and I'm just looking at the detail there of how to fix it to the concrete. And as you can see there, they've got 4 brackets that bolt to the bottom of the post, and these brackets are these ones here, just a bit of bent or angled steel. So they basically bolt onto the bottom of the posts, and I will have 4 of those. I've just got 2 here at the minute, but I don't like that design particularly. I think when I have the anchor bolts into the concrete, I'm always going to be tripping over them or running into them with a trolley or something on the floor. So I think what I'm going to do is try and come up with another method of putting a sleeve inside here, and then some way that I can still use these bolt holes, and then a pad or something on the bottom, so these can still sit nice and flat on the concrete. So what I've got to do now is just go and have a bit of think about how I can make up something to fit in there. Okay, I think I've finished cutting all the bits I need. So this is my 90 by 90 square tubing. It's 3.5mm thick. The pad base is 150mm square, and that's 5mm thick. And what I'm going to do is take this section, put it on the pad here, and then weld around the outside and put some holes through here. The post will then go over the top of this, and this will be the base that gets dyno bolted to the garage floor. I've started just to round off some of the edges here to make it a bit neater as well, so I'll take the rest of these flat pieces and do that as well. This is what I ended up with. Now I've welded it all together. I did make a mistake on the first one. I actually put the weld on the outside here and then realised that if I did that, the post wouldn't be able to sit flat on the base. So then I changed it to welding on the inside of that square tubing, which is what I've done, and I've also welded in a couple of captive nuts on the inside there. And this will now fit inside my post. Fits nice in there, and I can use the bolts that came with the kit and attach that in. So certainly that's a lot neater finish than using the brackets over there. I think that'll look a lot neater. And the other thing is I guess the benefit is that the system as supplied relied on basically just this post here sitting on the ground, and this is 100mm by 100mm or 4 inches by 4 inches, and that would mean that all the weight then would be sitting on this area on the 6 posts. And by making a pad that was 150mm square or 6 inches square, it means I've got more surface area for my post to sit on, which is going to be, I think, a little bit better for distributing the weight that's on the mezzanine floor. So that can't be a bad thing. The only thing I've got to do now is, actually I've got a hole in the middle, so I put a big hole in the middle. I'm going to put a larger version of the anchor bolts that came with the kit. I'm going to put that through the centre, so that's going to be hidden as well. You're not going to see that from the outside. And what I'll do then is I've got to paint these. So this is just in a mild steel at the minute, which is going to rust. So I've got some white paint and some black paint. So I think I can probably mix up a tone of grey that matches the floor, and I'll paint all the bases that same colour so it matches the floor a little bit better, and I'll get on and get those painted now. Okay, this is the next day, and I've managed to paint my bases for the posts, and I've got them positioned on the floor, and I've just finished putting the anchor bolts into them, so they're now all anchored down through the middle, and hopefully they're in the right position according to the plan. I think they probably are. I think they're probably pretty close. When you look at the plan that they supply here, one thing to be mindful of is that it is 6 metres across the front face here, but this centre post isn't actually in the centre of the 6 metres, it's slightly offset, so I just had to work out the position for that. That's why when you look at the floor, it's actually not positioned right in the middle of where the centre of the roof is. It's slightly off to one side, but that's okay. We got that worked out, and then to get the position of the other positions or where the post had to go, I basically just put a diagonal across here, measured that diagonal to make sure all those posts were square, and then I ran a string line from this one up past this one to give me the location here, because I had the distance between these two. Then I ran a string line from this post mount to this one up here, and that gave me the distance that I needed to be off this one. So they're all in, they're on the ground, and they're in the right place. Now I've got my good son Benny coming tomorrow morning, so Ben's going to drop by and we're going to start laying out some of this steel work. We're going to put some posts up, we're going to get some bearers in place and hopefully put in some floor joists, and that will be tomorrow's exercise.